Hi, everyone. My name is David Roeder from California. I have a background in health and wellness, massage therapies, and networking, and yeah, learning a lot, education, right? I like to share some information with you guys. Uh, Before we get started, I want to do a quick introduction to for a good friend of mine for over 10 years, Dr. Jeff Gamble. I'm excited that he is willing and able, to take time out of his busy schedule to help me out with this new project. And I'm very grateful for it too. You know, before we get started, right, I want to share four things with everyone about him. This is the cool part: is he makes a ton of money. Jeff and his fiancee Brandy are both holistic doctors and own a holistic studio in Indianapolis, Indiana. They also own a real estate company and are real estate investors. They own a coaching and consulting business. Jeff knows 100% of the facts about what I want to share with you. He loves to have fun. And lastly, he loves to help people. With that being said, I want to introduce my good friend, Dr. Jeff Gamble.
Awesome, Dave. Appreciate it. Man, we have known each other for over 10 years. That's crazy. But what we're doing today is I shared some information with Dave several months ago, and it just made so much sense to kind of both of us. We decided to jump in, partnership, work together. So what I want to do today is this is, personally for Dave, for the people who are taking a look at what we're doing. And here's the purpose. It's education. It's exactly what Dave said. What we want to do is share with you exactly what it is we do and how we do it. So that way, if you happen to come across the right person, you have the ability to refer them to us. That's what it comes down to. How can you possibly refer something you don't know about? So we just want to, give you some information on how we do what we do, why we do what we do, what it takes to actually be involved. And if you know of somebody, feel free to reach out and pass them over to Dave. I will also be there to help out. So let's get into the information. Every Tuesday night, we actually do an open house. An open house is nothing more than an overview of the information that I'm going to cover today, maybe with some more detail. We're going to keep this one short. So, Dave mentioned that I am a doctor. It's a traditional naturopathic doctor, kind of like holistic doctor. Me and my fiance both hold that title. From Indianapolis, Indiana. We do have several traditional businesses. We have our holistic health company with 12 people who work here in Indianapolis. We also have a real estate company where we, do selling and buying of real estate. We also are property investors, we do land, we do lots, commercial, residential, some fix and flip, fix and hold, etc. And then I also own a coaching and consulting company called My Leadership Network that teaches people about recruiting and team building and leadership and accountability. So, with that being said, we've done financially very well, but we were looking. And I've looked at a ton. Dave knows this. Dave and I have both looked at a ton of different businesses. And this one stood out. This one stood out a lot. First of all, because the product was so unique. To the direct sales industry. It was something that obviously was being sold outside of direct sales, but it also was recommended. It was recommended by many, many mentors of mine. They said you should always put between 1 to 5% of your money into precious metals. And the reason being is precious metals hold their value. They don't go down necessarily during a economic, turmoil, whatever. Typically they go up, which is kind of cool. Obviously I'm not, guaranteeing they're going up. I'm not a financial consultant. This This is not financial advice. It's just in general. We're going to look at the history. But I looked at a lot of direct sales companies and I wanted to find something. Brandy and I were looking for something that everybody who participates wins, which is pretty difficult. Normally, the people who win in direct sales are the people who have giant lists of people they know, the people who have massive influence, and the people who get in first with the right people. I was looking for something that no matter who you get in with, no matter what you do, you still won. And it took a while, but this company fit all of those boxes on top of the fact that I could build it from my cell phone, on top of the fact that I could do it from anywhere at any time. I thought that was great. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to evaluate 6 different areas. I did not come up with these areas. These areas actually come to us from Harvard School of Business. Stanford has their input there too. But it's, you should look at the company. Is it solid? What are its financials? What's its history? The need. Is there a actual need that you're solving in the marketplace? Long-term need, long-term need uh, leans towards long-term wealth. You need both of those. The market itself, where can you market the product? What is the product? The compensation, are you paid well for what you do? And then the timing. So the company is actually based out of Sarasota, Florida, Quicksilver. It was founded by Keith and Christy. Now, here's what I like about these guys. They actually started in direct sales. They had a lot of success being a salesperson and recruiters. They built teams and had success there. They then moved on to another company. Um, and where Keith ended up in acquisitions and Christy ended up in customer service. They worked for that company for a while. That company had 2 owners. The owners had differences of opinion. So they decided to both exit and leave with one of the owners to start yet another company. That made Keith the head of acquisitions, and that made Christy the head of customer service. And she built the whole department up. And they did very, very well with that company. But eventually they had a conversation with each other and said, hey, look, I think we know how to do this better, where more people can win. And in May 1st of 2019, they launched Quicksilver. It's been expanding ever since into 29 different countries. The United States and Canada are the biggest part of it at the moment. And I say it's ground floor because in the world of direct sales, anytime you get involved in something that is A, under 7, 8 years old, but B has less than 10,000 people, or even less than 100,000 people, you kind of are at the very, very beginning of it. This company currently has what I'm told is right around 6,000 or less total representatives, meaning total salespeople, 6,000 United States, Canada, and 27 other countries. So we're going to go into that here in a minute. What need do we solve? I think there's 5 needs. I have 4 listed here. The first need is money. That's obvious. Everybody would say yes, nobody would say no, that people are looking for a way to make more money. That's why Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, Grubhub, all these different gig-based economy jobs are out there. People are looking for extra, right? The price of eggs, the price of milk, the price of cars, the price of almost everything over the last 5, 6 years has gone up. Some of it's come down. Gasoline for the first time looks like it's coming down, which is cool. No guarantee that that'll continue, but for the moment. Also, the ability to have more time. How do you get more time? Well, you have to buy it back, which means you need to make more money. Also, the ability for more security. How do you get more security? Well, you technically sleep different. There's a study showing that you sleep different when you have your bills paid and you have more money in the bank. Obviously, $10,000 is good sleep. $100,000 is really good sleep. If you get over 100,000, I mean, you sleep well, like a little kid. It's nice. And number 4, the ability to contribute and help other people. I mean, let's face it, if you have money and you have time and you have security, what else is there to do other than go help other people? Do that too. So that way you have people to hang out with. Because obviously it'd be fun to go to the beach by yourself. But after a day or two, you're like, man, I wish I could have some friends. So you got to go back and you got to help people. So that way they can be there too. Or if you want to go to the mountains hiking, or if you want to go to the city shopping, whatever you want to go do, you want to bring more people with you. The last thing that I don't have on this list, but is actually one of the needs that I find most people are looking for today, is the ability just to have fun and entertainment and, hang out with a group of people. And what I found by building this is finding like-minded people who are also interested in, putting their money somewhere that it's not going to disintegrate, disappear, and just being able to help other people and hang out and have fun. So that is the need that we're covering. The market itself, I already mentioned the United States and Canada. Look at the rest of the places: Aruba, Australia, Bahamas, Luxembourg, Netherlands, New Zealand, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Spain, United Kingdom, England, Wales. What's not on the list? There's two continents. There's two continents that aren't even on the list yet: South America and Africa. Yes, yes, South America and Africa do have silver and gold. A lot of it's actually mined around the world. But here's the thing: we haven't even opened those countries yet. Those countries aren't even open. So you have the ability not only to go into all these other countries, but those two continents will eventually open and we'll have business there too down the road. What are the products? Um, Gold and silver. Maybe you've heard of them. Most people have. The difference is most people have not owned them necessarily in the monetary form. I mean, you might own a silver ring or a gold ring or a gold chain, but owning it as money, it's very, very cool. Owning the government issue silver bullion is a lot of fun. Copper is usually something also we offer, but right now copper is completely sold out. The market's going crazy because it's not listed on our website right now. I didn't list it in the presentation, but if things settle down a little bit, we will have copper as well. The flagship product is silver. Now, there's a couple reasons why, and I'll get to those in a second. But what do we focus on? We focus on 1 ounce, 99.9% government silver bullion. Why? There's a couple really cool books out there on like silver investing for dummies. And one of the things it says is if you look at buying silver, if you want the easiest, least expensive, and easiest to sell and transfer into cash, you want to stick with government issued coins. Now, when I first saw silver or read about it, I read from one of my mentors, Robert Kiyosaki, a guy who's a best-selling author, wrote like 30,000 books. I don't know, he's written a lot of books. One of the books he wrote was Rich Dad Poor Dad. Many people have heard of that. I went on to start watching his podcast and reading about him because he's a real estate guy. And one of the things he said was you should always put part of your money in silver and gold. So I had heard that, but when I went online to look it up, I didn't realize there were so many choices. There's so many choices. There was junk silver, there was numismatic coins, there was collectibles. They had bars, they had trinket stuff, things that they melted down and made into a Batman symbol or, a Simpsons face or different things. And I was like, oh my gosh, what do I buy here? So I just didn't do anything. A confused mind usually does nothing, right? So I didn't know until I started looking into that book, like Silver Investing for Dummies. And it's like, look, if you're going to do something, you want to do the government issued coins, the silver bullion, because it's the easiest to buy and it's also the easiest, most standard to be able to exchange. You can almost exchange it anywhere for cash. So if you need the cash from it, you can do that right away. And that was important to Brandy and I. I didn't want to get stuck in something that takes, I mean, I'm in real estate. Sometimes it takes months, even years to sell the right thing for the right price. Where silver, I can take my silver today on Sunday to a silver gold shop and I can exchange it instantly. With that being said, the spot price and history of silver. This was important to me because I was like, well, what has silver done over time? If you look, it started, 1970, $1.83 an ounce, $1.83 an ounce for a silver coin. I've got a couple of them sitting over here. I wish I would have been alive to be able to buy at that point. But look, 1975. It was $4.64. Still would have been a good deal. They had a run in the 80s. Now, why did they have a run in the 80s? A lot of people, some people might remember the oil embargo at the very beginning of the 80s. And then they had the S&L scandal about the middle of the 80s. During the S&L scandal, when the banks were in trouble and they were all buying each other, consolidating, silver went through the roof. They had a run on it. Um, then, it dropped back down to its normal probably real price, $6, $4, $5. But if you look here in 2010 or 2005, it starts escalating, $7, $20, 15, 20. And then something really interesting happened in 2025. In 2025, silver increased by 147%. So the question is why? So we're going to answer that now. There's two reasons. One is a company by the name of JP Morgan about 20 years ago went in and bought $750 750 million ounces of silver. 750 million ounces of silver. And they put it in a vault. And then what they did is they got together with all the banks and said, we own a lot. So here's what we were going to do is we're going to issue stock off of the silver that we own. And what ended up happening was is they sold more stock than they actually had supply. So here's how economics 101 works in a basic world. Again, this is not financial advice, but if you create an overwhelming supply of something and not a lot of demand, the price either goes down or stays stable, which is what they wanted. So that way they could keep buying it at a very low price. Now, what's happened in the last 5, 6, 7 years is silver is used in everything. Silver is used in circuit boards. Silver is used in all screens. Anything that has a screen, a laptop, a cell phone, a TV, an iPad, etc. Even cars, all these cars with screens in them, silver. All the electrical connections require silver. All the lithium batteries that are in Teslas and EV cars require silver. So the demand for silver in the last 5, 6 years has astronomically gone up. At the same time, with the banks shorting silver, you created a massive, massive demand and the supply is not as much as they thought. So when supply, obviously if you don't have enough of something and there's a lot of demand for it, what happens to the price? It always goes up. So that was a lot of the reason for this huge increase. Now, I didn't make that up. I've been reading about it. I've been studying it. Go do the research for yourself. It's pretty fascinating, pretty amazing. The current spot price of silver today, I just looked, was $90.88. So it's a little over $85 for that same 1 ounce coin that in 1970 cost you $1.83. So history shows it's going up into the right. And that's usually a good thing if you're investing. The 6 reasons why to stack silver. Number one is industrial. It's used for a bunch of things. I mentioned some of them. I'll show you on the next page what it's used for. Obviously, it's valuable. You can exchange it for actual dollars. It's tangible, something you can hold in your hand. I do not own any of the stock, REIT, investment type products. I want it in my hand. Why? Because if the economy goes nuts and the power goes out, you can't get to Bitcoin. You can't get to Ethereum. You can't get to your crypto account. You can't get your investment account. I mean, if the power goes out, you can't get to any of that. All you can get to is what's in your hand. And I wanted silver in my hand. If I want to exchange it today, I don't have to go online and go through a bunch of hoops. It's transportable. Again, put it in my pocket, take it with me. It's transferable. If I hand it to Dave, Dave now has it in his hand. He owns it. If I showed it to him, I want it back. But I mean, if I gave it to him, it's transferable, right? It's economical. It's still under $100. So if you even have a part-time job, you can start stacking or collecting silver, which is very cool. So what are the industrial uses? Well, it's used in the medical field for bandages and catheters. We're probably going to keep making those. It's used in water purification. That's a good thing. It's used in all electronics, and we already talked about that. It's the best conductor of metal. Why? It's the best conductor of metal and electricity because it does not corrode. Welcome, welcome. So we buy from Quicksilver. Why do we buy? Why did I choose this over buying it on Amazon or buying it on Walmart or buying it just anywhere online? Number one is security. I didn't know what the heck I was buying. So I knew that Quicksilver was actually doing the research and doing their due diligence, and they were buying from the big mints. They were getting it directly from the mints, not from a third party. Also, the field of Quicksilver, the salespeople, a lot of them were collectors. And I was like, who would know better if something was real or not than a collector? They're going to be the first ones to raise a red flag and blow the whistle. So that was good for me for my security. The next thing is opportunity. Quicksilver pays you to refer online, pays you to refer people to this company. And I've talked to local shops, talked to online shops. There is no shop out there that will pay you to refer customers to it. They will say thank you for the business, but they're not paying you anything back to bring somebody else in to buy, where Quicksilver will. So those two things were such big advantages. I was like, you know what? That's the reason why I'm buying from these guys. Next, I'm going to go into the compensation. Now, here's what I can tell you before we get started on the compensation. I just want to cover a couple things. First of all, there's no guarantee of income or promotions. I don't know if you're going to do the work or not, but there is money here. Next, you are an independent contractor. You are 1099. So you are responsible for what's going on. Work and results, there's no set hours, there's no set schedules, there's no set quotas. That's one of the things Brandy and I loved. We could do this when we wanted to, how we wanted to, as long as you're giving out the right information. Educational resources and support, they are available but not required. Why would you not want to know what to do? But, that's up to you whether you come learn. Risk of loss, if you buy a bunch of silver and sell it for less, well, that's on you. That's not good business. Compliance, we will comply with all the laws and disclosures. So, with that all being said, going back to that book that I read, Robert Kiyosaki said there's four ways to make money. Number one way to make money is become an employee. And obviously, that's what the system teaches, meaning that's what the schools, that's what the government, that's what most of our friends, family, grandparents, parents taught us is go to work, get an education, and go get a job. The problem is 80% of people fall into that category. And there's two things that everybody that has a job looks for. You can always hear it in their message to you when they get a new job. They're like, oh my gosh, I got the best job, in the world because it has security and benefits. Security and benefits. Well, number one, if you have a job, there is no real security. Let's face it. You can get fired for any reason. They can get rid of you. Inner politics, we've all had that boss or had that management team that, we ended up training. Have you ever trained your boss? That's always fun. And then they make more than you because they're new and you've been there for a while. But they can literally get rid of you for any reason. But 80% of the people fall into that category. The next category is the self-employed. So the second category is self-employed. What do people in self-employed look for? Um, they look for people who are self-employed look for doing it themselves. They just want the ability to control what's happening. When they want to do it, how they want to do it, why they want to do it. Only 15% of people fall into that category, but typically self-employed people make more money, but they have more responsibility. They got to do everything. The next category, the third category, or what we call the right side of the cash flow quadrant, is big business. Robert Kiyosaki defines big business as any time 500 employees or more are in a company. The Small Business Administration's numbers are a little different, and I like those. Small Business Administration says 99 employees or less, regardless of how much money you make, you have a small business. And if you have 100 employees or more, you have a big business. Businesses look for two things. They look for systems and profit. Because if you have a good system, for instance, like McDonald's, you can take a group of 16 to 18-year-olds and run a multi-billion dollar business. That's the power of a system. You also look for profit. Profits is always better than wages. Why? Because wages are based in time and profits are based in, overall consumption and one-time payout. So it could be one person, it could be 10,000 people. You'd obviously make more money if you could make 1% from 10,000 people than 100% of your own. Um, so that's a good thing. The last category is the investor category. Now, here's what's interesting about the investor category. With the investor category, that's only 1% of the population. These people use their money and put it in somewhere, and what they're looking for is ROI, return on investment. How much will I make back? So I learned about these different ways to make money. That led me to research Robert Kiyosaki's other stuff. And he said in, podcasts and different things, one of the things you want to do is you actually want 1% to 5% of your money. You want 1 to 5% of your money to do what? You want it to go to gold and silver. The reason being is it's a great storage. It goes up over time. We just showed you that history wise. So that is a fantastic place to put your money. Um, I then learned about one more training. A guy by the name of Dan Luck, multimillionaire. He made his money in copywriting. So he actually helps, companies write everything for their social media, Facebook, blog, etc., books, on and on. One of the things that he teaches is the financial triangle. He said, number one, you want a high paid skill that pays all your bills. He goes, normally a high paid skill is a job, right? Or a career of some kind, self-employed. He goes, that's how you make sure all the bills are paid. He goes, but what you want to do, if you really, really want to do financially well, you want to have a second income that's called a scalable business. Now, there's tons of scalable businesses, right? I mean, there's real estate, there's insurance, there's, getting a second job, Uber Eats, blah, 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 blah. There's Amazon stores, there's flipping stuff. I was looking for, and he suggests finding something that's already pre-built, that already has a system with it, where all your job is to do is market. That's all you do is you just advertise and market whatever the product is, and you make small commissions. He goes, with those commissions, number one thing you want to do with the commissions you make from your second income is pay off all your debt. He goes, you want to pay off all your debt. He goes, once your debt's completely paid off, number one, you should celebrate. Number two, what you want to do is you want to take that money now and start stacking it up to put it into the third income, which is the ROI income. He goes, at minimum, you want to make at least 10% a year. The reason you want to make at least 10% a year is that is the financial term, the rule of 72 or the rule of 7-2, which means whatever amount you have in, if you're earning 10% annual rate of return, you will double your money every 7.2 years. So if you put $1,000 in and it just sits there, if it's making 10% a year, your $1,000 turns into $2,000 in 7 years and 2 months. If you have $100,000 there, it turns into 200 million turns into 2 million. So if you double over and over and over again, at a minimum, 10%. Now, there are things out there that pay 15, 20, upwards of 30%. Building your own businesses, there's a bunch of stuff. I'm not your financial, advisor here. I'm not a financial planner. I'm just saying there's stuff out there. You got to go research what you want to go into and what you should go into, and you do you, and check with the right people. But in saying that, I was looking for that scalable business. Brandy and I have several businesses that generate great income, but we were looking for something that we could scale across the country, out of the country, because I wanted to make money elsewhere. And this fit all of those categories. And I'm going to show you how it works here real quick with our compensation. So, direct commissions is the first way to make money. Then we have these CAB bonus, customer acquisition bonus. We have challenge bonuses, bonus overrides, wealth cycles, which is my favorite. This is my favorite right here. And then the leadership bonus. So, the compensation, direct commissions are from your website. As being a rep in the company, you get a website, and anytime anybody goes on and buys anything from your website, you get commission and you get points. Now, the points are going to add up later in the comp plan. All these points add up, and you get commissions off of all the points. And I'll show you how that works here in a minute. Then we have the customer acquisition bonus. You earn $1 for each auto wealth coin. Now, an auto wealth cycle or an auto wealth shipment just means you chose how many coins are coming in a month. 1, 2, 4, or 10. Those are your choices. 1, 2, 4, or 10. So you get whole dollar, for every coin ordered on their first shipment. So obviously, every time you sign somebody up, this commission comes in, depending on what they buy. Maximum of 10, because obviously, if they have 10 coins, it's $10. Not a lot, but you also get points with that, and the points rack up, and that's where the long-term money comes in. Then we have the challenge bonuses. This is my favorite challenge pack. There's actually two, but this one's my favorite. It's the display case. It comes with a little felt pad that you'd obviously see at a jewelry store when they bring out the really expensive watch or the really, earrings and necklaces and rings and stuff, and they set it on that. They also have a magnifying glass so you can look at all the fine details that's on the coins itself, because obviously there's a lot of writing and really cool stuff. They have the white gloves. You don't put oil, or I was eating a donut the other day, and that would have been awful to put on it. So you got the cleaning set. So that challenge pack, if you sell one challenge pack, you can earn $20. If you buy a challenge pack and start out like that, they double your bonuses. You earn $40 plus you're going to earn 40 points. The points add up later, and you get the long-term commissions. There's also the challenge bonuses. This goes 7 levels deep in a sales team. So if I recruit Dave and Dave recruits Aaliyah and Aaliyah recruits Tyree and so on and so forth, you can go 7 levels down and earn money, $40, 10, 10, 5, 5, 5. Doesn't sound like a lot of money, but I have a friend that put 1,100 people in this company and was able to earn, over $10,000 in a month just from these bonuses alone. So they do add up. Well cycles. My favorite part of the comp plan. All coins purchased in your organization give you points. There's personal points, personally referred points, and team points. So how does it work? To achieve level 1, you earn your first cycle by signing up as an ambassador and have at least 10 personal points, meaning you've ordered one coin, and you maintain at least one coin on the auto well shipment. So basically, you get in and have a coin coming through. Pretty simple. If you have if you're in and you have your coin coming through, then to achieve a cycle, you have to have 100 points on the left, 100 points on the right. So I see that there's two ways to do this. One, you can have 10 people that have a coin each, that's 10 coins, or you have one person that has 10 coins. The second way to do it is more of the business builder strategy where you have two people that come in with a challenge pack, which is 40 and 40, that's 80, and they each have a coin, which is 10 and 10, that's 20, 80 and 20 or 100. So you have two people that come in as a business people, or you can have 10 people or one person who's just buying coins. Both achieve the 100 points and you receive a $10 commission. So whether you want to do it off of just Costco, Sam's Club members who are just ordering when they want to, they get a coin a month or maybe a couple coins. Either way, you stack up the points and you make the money. So that's very cool. That's the way the commission works. It goes all the way up to level 24, where you can earn from $10 all the way up to $20,000 a month, plus this $5,000 bonus at level 24. It starts at a $500 bonus at 21. So this just kind of shows you if I had one person on the left and one person on the right that were doing 100 points each, you'd make $10. If you got two and two, which is a total of four people, you'd earn 20, and so on and so forth, all the way up to, if you had 2,000 people on either side, each doing 100 points per person, or any combination of, when you get to 200,000, 200,000, you have a $20,000 a month. This is just this part of the comp plan. It doesn't involve your sales from your website. It doesn't involve your customer acquisition bonus. It doesn't involve the challenge pack bonuses. It doesn't involve the overrides. Those are four other commissions on top of this money. But I said, well, what happens if I build a team big enough? Because I've built teams that have 5, 6, 7,000 people on them. So what happens when I max it out? He goes, you just buy another position and you can do it all over again. I have a friend who maxed out 3 positions in another company, and he was making over 7 figures a year. Not guaranteeing anybody here will do that. I'm just saying it is possible. If you want to talk about that, strategize about that, happy to have that conversation. Now we're going to talk about the timing. What was the best time to plan a trade 20 years ago? That'd be the best time. So that way you sit under the shade. What was the best time to join Quicksilver? Well, probably in 2019 when they first got started. But since we can't go back in time, the second best time is right now. That's what we got. That's a Chinese proverb. They said, "Hey, look, you can't go back in time, but you can do whatever you can do right now with whatever you got." So what does it take to get started? Well, I think there's 3 ways to get involved. Number one, you can just be a customer. You can go to Dave's website, order whatever you want. Dave can send you his website. Number two is you can come on board as a wealth ambassador for $10 and order a coin, right? That's the minimum. I call that more the Costco Sam's Club kind of person. You're not interested in going to meetings. You're not interested in necessarily the business. But if you happen to run across somebody, you'll send them your website. If you happen to run across somebody who wants to really stack and collect, you get them on the phone with us. You get the commissions and you get the points, and they're going to rack up. And you can either take the commissions cash, or you can just trade them in for more silver. Personally, I've always traded them in for more silver. That was a really good move because our silver's gone up drastically in the last few years. We got started in 2022, have several hundred coins. When we first started buying these coins, they were $30. Now they're $90. And somebody's like, "Oh my gosh, but it's $90 now. Should I still get in?" Well, let me ask you a question. If it goes to 150 or it goes to 300, was it a good idea to join at 90? Probably. Yeah. I mean, that worked out well. So you just choose 1, 2, 4, or 10 coins that come in monthly. Now, your last way to get involved is kind of more of your business person. These are people who want to make money now. I was one of those people, honestly. I always want to make money now. You would start out with the challenge pack. So that's 139. And then you get your 1, 2, 4, or 10 coins. And then the following month, the 9.95 kicks in. So they just waive it the first month. So if you get a challenge pack, they waive the 9.95 the first month. So I don't care where you get started. Dave doesn't care where you get started. Dave, we don't even care if you get started. What was the goal of this entire presentation? Is to educate people on what it is we do. So if you run across the right person, you have the ability to refer them back to Dave. That's how it works. Customer, Sam's Club customer, $10 a month plus whatever you want to order, or business person, 139 plus coin, and then 9.95 a month thereafter. That is what we do and how we do it. Last but not least, if you choose to get started, what do we do from there? We set up a game plan. ASAP. Hey, what do we want to do? How fast can we do it? We'll get you plugged into the events, get you a ticket to the next training, the big mastermind we do, get paid and promoted, and then repeat and teach that system. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody for coming on here. We have this recorded simply because there's so many people that we're reaching out to that want information. It would be very, very time consuming to do an individual presentation for each person, but we can send out 10 of these videos at one time, which saves you a bunch of time. And then we just get back in touch with the people who have questions and want to know what to do next. Again, we do that open house every Tuesday. We'll be doing it this Tuesday. You're welcome to join us on that. We just appreciate everybody for taking a look at what it is we do and how we do it. Obviously, you're going to get back to Dave. If you check underneath this video on YouTube, which is where we placed it, we will have Dave's links. We'll have Dave's personal links there. If you want to go to a store link will be there. If you're ready to register, you can register. If not, get in touch with Dave. You not only will work directly with him, but you'll work directly with me. If I can't answer the question, I'll get the owners on the phone. So, with that being said, I appreciate everybody for watching what we do. Looking forward to working with you if this is something you choose to do. Otherwise, have a great time, and hopefully, you'll run into somebody that we can help. Thank you.